Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Franchise Happy Hour, your passport to the world of franchising. Here, we raise our glasses to entrepreneurs, visionaries, and franchisees who are shaping the future one opportunity at a time. I'm your host, Dylan DeGroat. And today we have the privilege to have a true franchise connoisseur joining us for a conversation that promises to be nothing short of exhilarating. Meet Jared Nassiff, a franchise consultant with BAI and the founder and CEO of Franchise Opportunities, also known as Fran Opps. His journey into franchising has become a remarkable one, marked by transformative power of franchise partnerships and the endless potential that they hold. But there's more to Jared than just his impressive professional journey. He's a proud parent of 3 incredible kids, a constant reminder of the importance of creating a legacy and forging the paths for the future. Jared's commitment to helping you franchise your aspirations is rooted in a profound desire to see families and individuals thrive, just like his own does. With a deep love for people, unwavering dedication to your success, and a wealth of experience to back it all up, Jared's here to guide you through every step of your franchising journey. So grab your favorite beverage, whether it's a classic cocktail, a steaming cup of coffee, or simply a refreshing glass of water, and join us for a conversation that's bound to inspire and unlock the doors of endless possibilities. Jared, welcome to the Franchise Happy Hour.
Yeah, dude, that was so good. That was the best introduction I think I've ever been given in my entire life. And that was an incredible human being yourself. You could just have the voice. You have the voice for podcasting, dude. It's like I could listen to that all the time. Like you could read me fairy tales at night and I would fall fast asleep with how soothing your voice is, man. You killed it. Loved it. So good to be here. It's so good to see you again. You know, we got to hang out when y'all invited some of us consultants out a month or two ago now, out to y'all's place in Pennsylvania. Incredible. Loved the team. Loved seeing Joshua Tree experts behind the scene and just getting to know you a little bit and hear a little bit about your story too. So super pumped to hang with you here today. So I must confess up front that I came here to my office. I was gonna like get myself a nice pour of whiskey or something, and then I walked in my office and I realized, oh no, I took all of my bottles home like a week ago. And so I have literally nothing in my office. I was like, what am I going to do? So, and it's also like, you know, it's in the afternoon for me right now, right? It's happy hour. And so I didn't want to do another cup of coffee because I've already had like 3 too many. And so I am using a coffee mug, which of course I have to use the Joshua Tree coffee mug as I'm holding in my hands here, but it's full of water. So I don't know. That's my drink of choice at the moment is water from a coffee mug.
Hey, well, you know what? That is perfectly fine. I hope that is a refreshing glass of water as well.
Refreshing glass of steaming water. It's
steaming water. I love it, man. Well, hey, it is an absolute pleasure to have you on, Jared. Yeah. We're definitely going to get into, you know, how much we've met and I think we really connected. So, you know, fantastic. Whether you out there listening are an aspiring franchisee, a dedicated entrepreneur, or someone who believes in the power of creating a legacy, this episode is the key to unlocking a fulfilling franchise journey. So on that note, let's begin the Franchise Happy Hour. All right, Jared, here we go, man. It's finally time. Here we go. All right. So let's start off really basic. Let's talk about you getting into the franchise, the franchise space, the consulting space. You have such a unique journey, and I love for the listeners to get a full picture of what that looks like.
Yeah, that's so true. It is really bizarre. The more consultants I get to know, the more bizarre I realize how my story is. Just definitely not a normal route. I didn't actually come from business, which is kind of a weird thing to say, because I'm working with and consulting for people who are in business and are wanting to get into business. And but my original path did not come from that. I actually was raised in a Christian home where my father has been in vocational ministry. I mean, he's worked at a church and the same church for about 30 years now. And so that was my upbringing. My world, my life kind of revolved around being in a church. And I actually went to college for ministry myself, kind of following a very similar path, and you got a bachelor's and a master's degree in New Testament studies and in ministry, and then I actually went into that. I went into vocational ministry. Like, that's what I've been doing the last 15 years in different roles. I've served as a student ministries director. I've served as a youth pastor. I've served as a discipleship or small groups pastor, an associate pastor, served on a teaching team. And so I've served in a number of different roles, just as, if you either felt like the Lord was kind of leading me to do something, or if it was an invitation from our team, or, the church felt like this was the best use of my skills and abilities, or whatever it might be, just really kind of trying to listen to the Spirit and go, hey, where can I best serve? What have I been prepared for and cultivated to do at this time and space? How can I best continue to move the needle forward? And so, yeah, that's what I've done the last 15 years. And I actually, so what happened is I kind of just fell into franchise consulting. I actually moved 2 different states away to start a new church, to plant a church. And as a church planter, man, you try to figure out just how to make it work, right? And part of that is just the financial side of it. And so me and a buddy of mine, we started talking about, like, hey, what if we created some kind of business that I can figure out how to replace or supplement my income with, that then I could just step off of the payroll of the church, not put that burden on the church, and could figure out how to still provide for my own family and do all that kind of stuff. And all the while still leading the church. And so we had talked through a number of different things until, my buddy was big into investing into companies, and he kept kind of beating his head against the wall with some things he was trying to get into, and couldn't figure out why. And then he kept realizing that he kept getting bottlenecked with a certain role called a franchise consultant. And so he started looking into it, and so I started looking at this franchise consultant, and he was like, man, is that what you guys do? Like, you guys should be better at this. Then maybe you guys should get in a different role or something, like find a different job or whatever it might be. And so he's like, dude, Jared and I could do this way better. And so we actually just launched our own franchise consulting, and we've kind of both kind of gone on to do kind of a little different stuff. But like now I'm kind of running my own consulting agency and franchise opportunities, Fran Opps, and really just kind of learned by being tossed in the fire of the world of franchising. Have been trained extensively from the network association I'm a part of. And it's just like many things, the more repetitions of something you do, and the longer time you spend in it, the more you learn, the more you grow. And so that's what this past 2 years has really been, is just a quick kind of learning by trial by fire, and being tossed into and just going with it. And so, yeah, it's kind of where I came from. Is it actually came from ministry and just serving people, and came into franchise consulting. So,
yeah, I love the idea. I gotta say, you might have quite possibly the best SEO franchise consulting name out there. Like,
you think so?
I don't know. I think so. Well, think about this.
Thank
How
you.
many people are just going to Google and typing in franchise opportunities? And when I originally knew it as Fran Opps, and I didn't realize that there was a full picture about that. And I was like, that is brilliant. So kudos to you for that. I'm not sure if that was the inspiration behind it. Was
100%,
was there any
100%.
more than that?
When we first started, we had a different name, and we had a different name for our consulting, and it just kind of gave the wrong impression. That it was more than just franchising. And so when I had, wanted to kind of recreate and do something new, I really thought, hey, let's just simplify this and call it what it is. We provide franchise opportunities. So why not just call it that? Like, you're going to go on looking for opportunities and different things, options you can invest into as a franchise. Why not just name it that? Makes it very simple. So franchise opportunities, we realize franchise opportunities, probably too long to put in an email. So let's just shorten that to Fran Opps. And so that's actually our DBA, which works well too. But so thanks, man. I appreciate that. It's good to hear that kind of reflection on it. So
no, yeah, I looked at that and I was like, that is brilliant, because that SEO is just, if you're out there, and you're actually
Yeah,
looking for a franchise. I mean, that's what I'm doing. If I
exactly.
do anything, I'm going to Google and I'm typing in exactly
Yeah,
what I want with a little keyword next to it.
absolutely.
So absolutely. So
Yeah.
when you first entered into this, so you're still getting your feet wet, if you will, a little
Yeah.
bit in the franchising side.
Right.
Um, what have you found, what's keeping the inspiration going? What's getting you up every morning?
Yeah, 100%. My number one is my family. You know, you even mentioned that
Mhm.
as kind of the intro too, is my kids and my
Mhm.
wife drive so much of why I'm doing what I'm doing.
Mhm.
Um, like I want to be able to provide well for them and
Mhm.
provide in a way that they can be proud of. Someday they're gonna know who I am and what I do. And I want
Mhm.
that to be something that they can be proud of, you
Yeah.
know. And so knowing that like as a franchise consultant, what I essentially get to do is just help other people pursue their dreams
Mhm.
and can be a part of like making those dreams come to fruition.
Mhm.
Man, that's what I want to do, you know, like,
Yeah.
and so I believe that's something I enjoy doing that. I can be proud of doing that, and just
Mhm.
that it provides a steady enough income for my family,
Mhm.
for my kids. Like, man, they drive so much because a lot of people that I work with, a lot of the people that I work with, they have they have either have like older kids,
Mhm.
or they have like adult kids that they are wanting to do something with. And
Yeah.
so a lot of people I get to work with, they like, man, I would love to invest into something with or for my son or my daughter. And I just love that picture.
Yeah.
And the fact that I can be a part of helping them make that decision, whatever that might be, like, man, it's so life giving for me. Just
Mhm.
very fulfilling to know that I could be part of that. Whatever that next 10-year decision is, it's a big
Yeah.
deal.
I
And so I
love
think
that.
that's essentially what drives it all is largely my family and just like I love the idea of helping people.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you
Yeah.
check out Jared's website, it's franchiseopportunities.com. Is that correct? You will,
Yeah.
yeah,
It's Fran. Look at franops.org.
franops.org.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
So if you check that out, I read your story on there, about how that's really what your drive is. You're
Yeah.
trying to help people find their passion, which I
Yeah.
think honestly, I think that's very unique about you.
Mm.
Some consultants they focus it basic on, hey, some might focus it on commission. We hate
Yeah.
to say it, but you're in this business to also make money.
Right.
So some might focus it on commission, some might focus it on, hey, I know these brands, they are successful. I'll send them directly to them. But
Yeah.
I like the path that you're also taking
Mhm.
that says, hey, what are you passionate about? Let's find that passion.
Yeah.
What's some things that you might work with a client thinking about how to find their passion? What are you
Yeah.
doing to kind of help them develop? Maybe they don't know when they come to you. How do you help them find that?
Yeah. It's such a good point, and really a great question to follow up with it too. Is like because it's got to be both and.
Mm-hmm.
Like at the end of the day, yes, this is business.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so like I'm not gonna pretend like I don't care about
Yeah.
garnering profit. Like
Yeah.
that's why I'm doing this is for my family.
Yeah.
But also on the flip side, like, can I provide something for my family where I can
Mm-hmm.
also like be a part of helping make such a significant difference in another person's life? Like, man, that's if you can somehow combine those, and franchise consulting offers that to me.
Yeah.
And so that's really what I love about it. And how like, yes, I would love to to do it. You've
Mm-hmm.
got to care about people. Like to do it
Mm-hmm.
well,
Mm-hmm.
you have to care about people.
Yeah.
Like I would love to nothing more send you thousands, send you Joshua Tree experts, call up my man Dylan and be like, hey, I've got 100 more leads of people that want to invest into and purchase a Joshua Tree franchise. You
Sure.
know, and if I could somehow like, so there's a part of you that like as a consultant, some of you wants to kind of like lead people in that direction,
Mm-hmm.
which if it's a good fit, great, but like you can't just try to put every single person in that box. Like you've
Right.
got to care enough about the person you're working with to
Mm-hmm.
really actually help them. And
Yeah.
that requires just listening to them. What are they where are their past experiences? What have they led them to now? What are they passionate about? What do they envision their life looking like in the next 5 to 10 years? What do they want to do? What drives them?
Yeah.
What's their purpose behind wanting to invest into a franchise?
Yeah.
And so all those things really kind of play into like just get to know the individual, like as a person,
Yeah.
not just like you can't just look at them as like a dollar sign, like
Yes.
it's gotta be people always need to be more important than profit, but profit it will always be a part of it. You
Yeah.
have to learn how to kind of hold those in tandem with one another.
Yeah.
So really it comes down to just, do you care enough about that person you're talking to really actually help them? Or is
Yeah.
it, man, I really only am doing this to make money, and then, I can clock out at the end of the day and go do whatever I want? Or like, do you care about the people that you're working with?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, absolutely. It reminds me, I did some training before I got into franchising. I actually did training as a recruiter. And one of the individuals, her name is Susan Gygax. She is amazing. She is one of those people that can just put values attached to a lot of things. And one of her company's values, which is called Spectacle Talent Solutions, it's people over profits. It's like relationships over profits. And I think that pretty well embodies exactly what a good consultant is about. It's not just about that dollar sign. At the end of the day, hey, we're all here to make money, sure, but we're making money. And like, just so all the listeners out there, if this is the first time listening to the podcast and you're not even sure how a franchise consultant gets paid, don't worry, you don't pay them.
Yeah, right.
Franchisors are the ones who actually pay the commission to the consultant. So like a Joshua Tree Experts pays the consultant, for your opportunity to come in. Now, what's great about that is you pay the same thing either way. They are a completely free resource for you, and they are truly the experts in not just one concept. Like, I know one concept, but Jared knows hundreds of concepts.
Yeah.
So
already have those relationships and networks set in place.
Absolutely.
And so like you can definitely tell a consultant's heart, whether they care about you as a person or about their profit, by the very first conversation you have with them about their like recommendations on different brands they should consider. So if I like hop on a call with the candidate and show them 3 brands, like that person's going to be able to tell right away, like, oh, was he listening to me? Did he care about the information that I've already given him about what I'm looking for enough to actually go find those ones?
Yeah.
Or is he showing me 3 completely random ones that he's trying to convince me to find interest in? Because then it's telling you something like, man, if it doesn't really align with what you're doing, it sounds like they're probably like that consultant is taking into account what they're going to be paid if one of these deals close, more so than like what this person they're working with actually cares about.
Yeah.
And so it's such a big deal. Like and that's kind of the challenge as a consultant, is to try to bridge that gap for people that I'm working with, because everybody and their brother like are they have, when they get a first text or first email or first phone call from an unknown number, everyone's on high alert. That's just the world we live in. Their sales blinders come on, they put up this wall and it's like, this person doesn't care. They're just wanting money. And so part of my job, like trying to find success in this, one of the hardest challenges is trying to bridge that gap. Of like trying to show the person like, hey, I'll be honest, like this is not a sales call. I actually can't sell you anything.
I have nothing to actually sell you.
And so one of the things I'll tell them is like, truly, if I have ever asked you for money, something has gone terribly wrong. Like you would never, ever actually pay me. And plus, if you don't move forward with the deal, I don't get paid at all. So like, of course, I'm going to try to like help you as best as I possibly can, And so it's really trying to bring down those blinders, those barriers, and just be like, hey, I literally just you and do it for free. So let's just enjoy this journey together. And you know what? At the end of the day, if you're not happy, go with something else. There's 4,000 different kinds of franchise opportunities worldwide. Go find something you're going to enjoy, but let me help you if you're willing, like I can do that along the way.
Yeah. What do you think excites you about just the franchise community in general. I think the franchise community also just what franchising opportunities can create for people. What excites you the most?
Man, about the franchise community. I have genuinely I just love people. So I genuinely have
Mhm.
loved how eclectic the community is. People coming from all different kinds of backgrounds. I feel like there are a lot of people I meet in the consulting space that
Mhm.
this is like their third or fourth career, or like
Mhm.
this is more so maybe like a retirement option for them.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
actually don't meet a whole lot of younger consultants, you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah,
And a
absolutely.
lot of people I work with, they just are, and so I've loved getting to hear people's stories from what they're coming from as a
Mhm.
consultant. Whether it's I'm just trying to provide an extra income for my household, or my kids are in college and this
Mhm.
is going to be able to help me pay to put them through college,
Right.
or just where people are from, whether it's someone from it's got a crazy North Carolina accent, or someone from Boston, or like someone out in California. Like I'm getting to meet people all over, which is awesome for me, right? Because like serving as a pastor of a church, like you get to know the people in that city. It's not like you're meeting people necessarily all over, but now regularly I'm meeting people all over, and it's pretty incredible. It's just like the different stories, the different backgrounds, like even hearing your own story coming from
Yeah.
where you came from to now what you're doing, like you never would have thought 5 years ago this is what you do.
Right.
And so just hearing those kind of stories, it feels like everybody in franchising that I talk to feels like everyone just kind of falls into franchising. It doesn't sound like
Mhm.
anybody like, you know what I mean?
It
Like
was never
I feel like there's
planned.
very many people that are like, this is what I'm gonna do. It just kind of happens. And it's a
Yeah.
great thing when it does.
It sure is. I mean, there's just it I don't know why, but I get jazzed up talking about, just franchising and what it can create, how it can take you from, just sometimes just it sucks waking up in the morning. Work is I've always been a
Yeah.
big proponent of like, hey, work is always going to be work. If,
Right.
no matter what you do, there's always
Yeah.
going to be those days that you get up and you're like, this it's work.
Yeah. Yeah.
But if you can work in something, own it, have skin in the game, know that your efforts
Right.
of how hard you work
Mhm.
specifically are actually closely affecting that back end, that to me is cool because
Yeah.
yeah, I that just excites me so much and I don't know why, but it just does.
Oh yeah, 100%. That's what I love. That's what I'm learning to love about franchising myself, is that you get to go into business for yourself,
Mhm.
but you are not doing it by yourself.
Yeah.
That's the bread and butter of franchising,
Yeah.
is that you get to be your own boss,
Yeah.
but you have a whole team from day one supporting your success.
Yeah.
Because like the franchise you invest into, there's people who have been doing this for years before you that
Mhm.
care about that brand name probably more than you as a franchise investor. And so like of course they're going to do whatever they can to see you succeed, and
Mhm.
so but also they're not going to micromanage. This is your investment, this is your job, this is your business. So it's like,
Mhm.
it's just it seems like the perfect fit of both worlds, especially when you find the right brand to invest into. you
Yeah.
know so good.
Yeah. How many, as you're going through the process, just so people out there are kind of made aware, you're with Business Alliance Incorporated, also known as BAI. You're a consultant with them.
Yep.
Um, Explain a little bit about what that means in case, the listeners don't understand. Hey, what does it mean he's with BAI? What's that mean?
Yeah, so in the consulting space there are a number of different brokerages for franchise consultants that think about it there's probably a lot of similarities to real estate. That
Hmm.
as a realtor, you can be a part of a brokerage. You don't have to. You could
Hmm.
go solo and do completely your own thing, but there's just so much, like, it's so needed. It's just like franchising. It's so
Yeah.
needed to go do your own thing when there's already people who have kind of trailblazed before you and can help you find success way sooner with way less
Hmm.
headache. And so being a part of a brokerage that provides, a BAI is in my opinion the best, of course, but
Yeah.
genuinely the support you get from headquarters and the team, the staff team,
Hmm.
every step of the way, not just from training, but just what I've been impressed by is how exhaustive their training was, but then the ongoing
Mm-hmm.
support, like I'm literally in contact with them weekly, if not daily, and
Mm.
can be if I need to. I can
Yeah.
literally pick up my phone and be like, hey, you know, uh, Heath or Duran or whoever, be like, hey, I don't know what this means. I need help with this. I got this candidate who's got this question. What do I do? Or, hey, I'm
Mm-hmm.
working with this franchisor and they're a pain in the butt. How do I resolve it? Can you help? And so, like, having people go to bat for you, like
Yeah.
as soon as you need them, is just, man, it's so fulfilling. It's very much like franchising. I get to
Mm-hmm.
be my own boss, but I'm working, for myself, but not by myself. I have a whole team
Yeah.
behind me too that wants to see me succeed. And so yeah,
Yeah.
the network, the brokerage provides already hundreds of already predetermined, like established relationships
Mm-hmm.
with franchisors.
Yeah.
And so they know they've already helped kind of bridge that gap in the relationship. So rather than me going out and developing 1,000 relationships with different companies, that's
Mm-hmm.
already there. That's already there
Yeah.
for us. And so
Yeah.
it makes my work and being able to help people. It helps expedite that process a whole lot more. That I can help
Yeah.
people quicker.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I absolutely agree. I love, working with BAI. You guys have been great so far. Really appreciated the relationships we were able to build. You guys coming out, that was super cool.
It was awesome.
And that's just a special opportunity. We do a little, hey, work hard, play hard kind of deal.
Yeah.
I love that. And I think that y'all were a excellent representation of BAI. So if BAI is listening, they were behaved.
There we go.
So I
Yeah.
really wanted to get into, have you made a placement? I know that you just got everything started. Have
Right.
you made a placement yet?
Yeah, I really haven't even been doing this role a full year yet,
Mm-hmm.
but I made my first placement just a couple
Nice.
months in.
Yeah.
That was my first placement. A couple months in was with a. Can I share the name of the company? Is that okay?
Absolutely. Feel
Because it
free.
wasn't Joshua Tree, unfortunately. Yet
No, feel free.
we'll get there, but it wasn't JTE
Feel
yet.
free.
No, it is Floor Coverings International,
Mm,
and actually the guy's name is Jabril, and
okay.
he moved here to America, and now he's pursuing that American dream, owning his
I
own
love
business.
it.
Awesome stuff, and then I got to help with that too. Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
And he is actually, I believe, opening up that floor coverings in Texas this month. So
That's
like
awesome.
grand opening. So like just to see that come full circle and like, man, I got to be part of that in some way. So cool to see. But yes, that was pretty awesome to be able to work with. And that's the thing, is like trying to find, as a consultant, like I want to connect a candidate with
Mm-hmm.
who they want to get connected with that they just don't know about yet. But also, I'm also taking into account, like, if I literally care about this individual,
Mm-hmm.
like, yes, I want to connect them to a brand that they want to get connected to,
Mm-hmm.
but maybe sometimes even more so, more importantly, I want to connect them to a good franchisor.
Mm-hmm.
So someone a company that I know that I can trust, then
Mm-hmm.
I can feel like I have integrity to say, hey, I want to recommend this company. They're the real
Mm-hmm.
deal, and here's why. And
Yeah.
that's just not the case with every single, there's 4,000 different options out there. Like we've said already, not every single one of them is the
Yeah.
same. None
Yeah.
of them are the same,
Yeah.
but there's definitely ones out there that I'm like, I don't know if I can feel honest about recommending this person to this brand.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but man, I definitely had that from day one with floor
Mm-hmm.
coverings. I definitely have had that from day one to day 60 with Joshua Tree experts. Like there's just a number of ones, especially in my brokerage. Like
Yeah.
every single, like the franchisors I have talked to, man, it's like across the board. I'm like, dude, BAI has done an unbelievable job, like vetting these companies.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't really have to worry about that.
Yeah.
I don't really have yellow flags or red flags with them. It's just like, man,
Mm-hmm.
these guys are this company's a real deal. And so
Yeah.
I want to see them succeed. I want to see them grow and develop. So like, yeah, I can have integrity recommending a brand to a
Yeah.
candidate maybe interested in them.
Yeah. I love that I get to talk to individuals who have been in franchising for, 20, 30 years. And then I get to talk to people just like you who are kind of coming on board with me.
Yeah. Right.
You've been a little bit longer than me. So, you'll hit your 20 before I do, if you will. Um, but
Yeah.
what I think is interesting about talking to individuals like you is like, think about before you got into this role. What were some things that surprised you about the franchise industry that you had maybe just no idea about?
Yeah. So some things that would surprise me, I would say like coming back to the people I've met, I've been really surprised by some of their backgrounds and stories. Like I thought sharing with people that I'm coming from ministry, I'm coming from the church world. Like I thought I'd be met with some awkward, like, oh, weird, or like,
Yeah.
just like, why do let's talk about that. Why that? And just like
Yeah.
thought I'd be met with some stuff. But it's honestly been really, it's actually been met almost all the time with, oh, no kidding. So I'm actually from either some kind of ministry, or my parents were served in it, or like people, or
Yeah.
like, yeah, I'm a believer. And like I get so much like grace accepted in that. And so that's
Yeah.
been really surprising to me, that there's way more faith in the business sector and in
Uh-huh.
franchising specifically than I had originally expected there to be. And so that's been great to be able to have that kind
Yeah.
of personal mutual connection.
I
Yeah.
love that. That's a very special. I think that's very special. And I don't think you're going to get that with, every single consultant out there. This is something that's still fresh in your mind. You're
Right.
still kind of processing through it. And it's like,
Yeah.
it's just been so good so far. Imagine how great it can really get. And so I
Exactly.
appreciate you sharing that with us, man. That's
Yeah.
definitely
Yeah, for
really
sure.
cool for the listeners. Um, I definitely wanna ask you, if there's a listener out there and they are considering just they're like, I might be kicking a little bit of a tire right now, but I am considering about strongly getting into a franchise opportunity.
Yeah.
What would you say, best practices, nugget of wisdom, do this, don't do this, any recommendations that you would give that person as they kind of enter into that journey?
Yeah, just make sure you're financially capable. That's of course,
Mm,
as you know, Dylan, like the biggest metric that franchisors are going to look at, and is the
mhm,
number one reason franchises that fail. It's the number one reason they fail is because they
mhm.
are not financially stable, or just not viable. And so
Yeah,
I would make sure, like, number one, you have enough liquid capital. So like liquidity, or how much money can you get your hands on in the next 30 days? Like how much can you turn into to liquid cash
mhm.
right away? Make sure you have plenty. And like if you can get, like, I would say some people that work with, like, so what does that mean? Like how much do I need? Like 5,000? It's like, no, you're gonna need to
Yeah,
put the franchise, like, to be safe, minimum 50, if
mhm.
not quite a bit more.
Yeah,
The more you have, of course, the more opportunities you have open and available to you.
yeah,
The better ones are going to cost you more. That's just the
yeah,
truth. You want to get into a really good franchise option, it's going to cost you more money. So just make sure, one, you have liquidity on hand, and two, like, you're financially stable enough to go a year or two, maybe even three, without really seeing a paycheck yet.
yeah.
And it kind of depends on the business. It doesn't mean that's not going to be lucrative over the next 10 years. But in
Mhm,
the first couple of years, you have to, as a family, taking care of your
mhm.
own family, you have to make sure you guys are financially stable enough to be able to do that, to try to
Yeah,
build it and not need to take income yet from it day one.
yeah. I can definitely attest to that. It is an absolutely crucial part. Is there a
Yeah.
section, if a candidate's going through a process with a brand and the
Yeah.
brand has not recommended funding strategies or anything like that, is there a certain time frame that you typically like to talk about, hey, let's talk about funding, let's get this serious? When does it become real for you and the candidate?
First phone call. And my
Good.
first phone call, because
Awesome.
sometimes it's like, if this, right away, I'll try to figure out if this is a real, like, candidate that I could spend my time with. Because like at the end of the day,
Yeah,
all of us only have so much time. And I want
absolutely.
to spend my time. If I could, like, only spend my time with the most ideal candidates, right? Like that's what everyone dreams for.
Yeah,
So
right.
like you have to decide, like, how best to spend your time. So I don't want to
Mhm.
spend a whole lot of time with individuals that, like, as much as awesome as that person probably is to sit down over a happy hour and grab a drink with,
Yeah.
They may have $100 in the bank, and this is going to be
Yeah.
just a pipe dream for them. Awesome. I hope someday they get there. But with what I do, I can't really help you right now. Maybe
Yeah.
someday I can.
Yeah.
But so I try to figure that out day, like the very first phone call. It's kind of
Good.
where they're sitting financially. Typically, no one ever gives you like all the hard numbers right away, but they can
Mm-hmm.
give you a pretty good idea of kind of the boat that they're in. And so then I'll have that conversation with them about, have they thought about how to fund this?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people that I've worked with, they kind of think like, well, I have 200,000 in the bank because that's what I want to do. I'm like, okay, you could spend all 200,000 of your own money, but you
Right.
have some other options out there that are going to be a little better, and probably better for your family too. And
Yeah.
so I usually try to like ensure, I am not a financial consultant at all, so I don't
Nope.
try to speak into that too much, but I do have trusted partnerships through my brokerage, through BAI, that
Yep.
kind of help set that up with some of
Excellent.
the best franchise funding partners in the space.
Yeah.
And so I work pretty closely with a couple of them when it comes
Excellent.
to setting up those referrals and recommending people to a professional in that space to talk to you right away.
Yeah. I think it's very important too. And I love the idea that, hey, just because you have that little nut over there, you don't need to break that,
Right.
keep something, keep that rainy day fund.
Yeah.
You don't need to put all, there are so many ways to fund a franchise. You could get really creative too. You really can.
Yeah.
But
Right.
absolutely,
I
just
think
like you said,
people just kind of get afraid of like loans and
yeah.
the
Hmm.
interest and all that kind of stuff that goes into it. And it's like, just let me connect you with someone who can explain this to you, that
Yep.
this is their profession, this is what they do. I trust
Hmm.
them. You don't have to work with them, but they can at least
Yep.
help answer some of these questions for you. So
Yeah. And a lot of their services, again,
yeah,
free until you do something,
absolutely.
right?
Yep.
So
Exactly.
I love the franchise industry because education is free. And I think that is
So
so
much of
cool.
it. Yeah,
Yeah.
you get all the value up front from
Yeah.
everyone who's willing to help you. At the
Yeah.
end of the day, then even still, you don't ever have to sign. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Well, yeah, if it's not today, it could be,
yeah,
a year down the road. And that's
right.
why it's all about building relationships, keeping them healthy, right?
Yeah,
I love
yeah,
it. I
exactly.
love it, man. Hey, so as we wrap up here, man, I just want to say thank you so much. You've been an
Yeah.
absolute pleasure on here
Mhm.
today. I think you've added some true value uh, for those who are, just considering. But I
Yeah.
gotta give you a second here. If someone's sitting there and they're listening to the podcast or watching on YouTube or something, they're like, man, I need to talk to Jared, right?
Yeah.
I want to talk to Jared because, hey, I want to become my own boss and I want to own a thriving business that reflects my passion.
Yeah.
So, what is the best way that someone can get in contact with you, Jared?
Yeah, send me an email, Jared, Jared at franops.org. Okay, Jared at franops.org. Email me and I'll message you, email you back pretty much right away. And if you're serious, we'll start with what's called a qualification assessment. That's gonna be step one. And it really helps separate those that are serious about wanting to get into franchising from those that are just kind of, this is a fun idea that they're never actually going to make a move for the next 10 years. You know what I mean? Like, I want
Yeah.
to work with people who are actually ambitious entrepreneurs. So if that's you, email me. We'll get the ball rolling for you right away. And I'm going to literally, you'll have my full attention. I will give everything I can to make sure you have all the information you need to make the most informed decision for you and your family. I'm going to help save you hundreds of hours of time and headache that you're going to get by just Googling random stuff, just to come up,
Yep.
find out a month later, didn't work out even from the beginning. So let
Yep.
me help kind of save you a bunch of time doing that and put the best options that you're going to have a hard time choosing between the three I give you. I promise. And so
Yes.
message me and we'll make it happen.
I love it. And just for listeners out there, I'll put all that info in the episode description below. But hey, Jared, thanks again. I don't know if you've listened in before, but I do have one little special for you here.
Oh,
So I have a little treat, a little
yeah.
section that I like to call Ask Chat GPT.
So good.
So what I've done is I've gone to Chat GPT and
Yeah.
I've said, hey, give me a situation where Jared has two different outcomes that he has to choose from. So this is what ChatGPT gave me today.
Genius.
Jared, you're standing on a pristine shore on a remote tropical island. A lush jungle sprawling before you. The turquoise waters of the South Pacific gently lap at your feet. The island is teeming with life, and you have two distinct options for your day's adventure. The first option invites you to embark on an underwater expedition. The island is surrounded by vibrant coral reef, and you can choose to snorkel or scuba dive.
Ooh, okay.
Whether the surface is beneath the surface is a mesmerizing world of colorful fish, graceful sea turtles, and coral garden awaits, offering an enchanting underwater paradise. The second option presents an enticing trail leading into the heart of the island's jungle. As you delve deeper into the lush wilderness, you'll discover the cascading waterfalls,
Ooh, wow.
hidden grottos, and the calls of exotic birds. It's an adventure that's filled with discovery and the possibility of uncovering rare and hidden treasures. You must now decide whether you're going to explore the captivating underwater world or lose yourself in the mysterious island jungle. Which are you going to do?
Dude, that's amazing. I would love to know what ChatGPT has to say about like your personality or character or like who you are. Like if it could give some kind of like, like counseling kind of metric on who you are as a person based on the choice you made. But I'm for sure gonna say the second one. Like if I can
Yeah.
just keep my feet on land and not have to worry about sharks or stingrays or anything like, that they definitely have a leg up on me, no pun intended, in the water. But yeah, and also heard on treasures in the second one
Yeah.
too. So if I can find
Yeah.
some treasures in the wild, but yeah, no man, that's what I would go with for
All
sure.
right. All right. So Jared is delving deep into the island's jungle. Hopefully, we see him on the other side so he can help you find a franchise opportunity.
Hey
We need
man, there you go, brother.
it. Well, hey, brother. Thanks again so
Yeah.
much, man. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you on today. Hey, I always like to end in just this little note. So, hey, cheers to you, cheers
Cheers,
to
bro.
me, and cheers to franchise success.